All right. Good afternoon. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. Market pretty flat here today. Has had a 29.35 to 29.59, so about 25 point range on it here today. But in terms of its change from where it ended on Friday, it is little changed here. Now we saw the morning dip, right, and then we saw the money come in, push things up, take off some of the loss, dip back on down, and then we saw this jump up here in S&P futures about an hour ago. And some of this happened as Larry Kudlow, was on Fox Business and made some comments about the trade war. And what did he say? He basically said that a U.S.-China trade deal was possible and that negotiators could make progress this week. Right? It's the same type of trade war news we've been getting. It's a rehash of either positive or negative comments, but no real change, right? Nothing materially happened, with that. And, we saw the market, take a pop and now has erased that element. And, rightfully so, if you're looking at it just from the perspective of, hey, you know what, those comments are what drove the market higher right there. I think there's a chart that for me sums up what I think about today's action today, and that is the bullish percent index. Bullish percent index market rallied on Friday pretty substantially, holding in there today. Bullish percent index has not moved higher the last 2 days. We've seen it before. We've seen it many times in the past. And what do we see the market do when the bullish percent index is not going up with the market? We see the market turn around and go, and go down. And, will that be the case here this time? We'll see. But it is one where, it is one where there's a kind of a glaring danger sign, sitting there on the, on the map. Challenge. As far as challenge goes, there are no new signals here this afternoon. There are a lot of crossovers. Let me show them to you here real quick. We have a few on the bearish side of Coca-Cola and GLD. Procter & Gamble, Valero have just, with this last little tick down, have both crossed on down. None of these qualify as triggers here. If we look at something like a Procter & Gamble, you can see this looks like a lot of things that moved up on Friday, right? And today, just kind of getting that little trim back. I mean, it looks almost identical to Visa, right? Moved up on Friday, little trim back here today. We're seeing that in a lot of things. Coca-Cola is doing that. Pepsi's doing that. It is very common action across the market here today to see that. So these are the downside crossovers here. On the upside, we have quite a few crossovers, and there are just a lot of crossovers out there. Disney, Facebook, Intel, AT&T, Verizon, Walmart is on the crossover list here this afternoon, but none of these qualifying as a trigger. You'll notice Walmart, stock's down and has a 3-7 crossover, kind of like what we saw with, what was that stock this morning? Sorry, slipped my head. There it is, Vale. Where the upside, it has a 3-7 upside crossover with the stock going on down. Now that's not necessarily bearish, but it tends not to be overly bullish either. But we see a few of those coming into play. We have AT&T, Verizon, we talked about this morning, Facebook as well. And then what's really interesting to me, and I think if you're looking at this market and you go, well, is it ready to break out, break down, or go flat? Well, you take a look at GLD, and it has a downside 3-7 crossover, and you take a look at GOLD, a gold miner, and it has an upside 3-7 crossover, and that tells you we're not seeing a lot of commitment here from the market. So that leaves me in a place where, we had the signals on Oracle and on Visa on, here on Friday, and I did not go get into them due to the option values. Now, Oracle here, if we look at where the options are, here with it, let me just come in here to the 55s, November 55s. We'll chart them. Okay, you can see the options are about what they were. They're just slightly lower than what they were Friday afternoon. In fact, at the the 12:30 time period, they're about the exact same price as what they were. Okay, we haven't really seen the option pull back all that much. With Visa, we are seeing a little bit of a different story. The option's down about $1 here from where it was at at that 12:30 time period when it was 660, and now it's down to 560 here for Visa. So we've seen a little pullback in that option. I was hoping we'd see a little bit more. We still might get it by the end of the day. But I'm not going to pull the trigger on either trade with where they sit. I'm going to hold off. If the challenge were running with some strong gains, here I'd go get in and run it. But, with so many possible triggers to the upside if the market breaks higher, and just with Visa sitting as it is, knowing that one more kind of small day like today will take significant value off of that option. I'm going to opt to go into the close here with cash again and, play this on a very conservative approach. Now, the challenge overall, it's not a conservative approach, right? I hate using the word conservative when it comes to the challenge, but the decision here is conservative. And most of the decisions that you will see me make when it comes to the challenge, they're conservative. When it's left into my hands, I will err on the side of being conservative, most each and every time, with a few small exceptions, but I'm going to err on the side of conservative here going into the close. I would not be surprised if we saw a little sell pressure to see a lot of these upside crossovers like Oracle, like Microsoft. We saw Microsoft last week with an upside crossover. I would not be surprised with a little bit of sell in the market in the morning to see a whole bunch of downside crossovers come into the market. And I think that's a big danger for the market going in overnight here. But for the most part, the next kind of chop in the market is probably going to be driven by, the trade talk here this week. And then next week, we're going to get into earnings. And, that will be the primary driver for the market. Yes, we'll still see responses to trade war stuff, but, the primary decision factor for most investors is earnings, and to get the earnings here for the market as we get into next week. Wednesday, I believe, is when we really start to kick off with JP Morgan and whatnot there. So we'll get into the heart of that. All right, so that's that's where things sit. I am going to go into the close here with cash. Yes, a modestly conservative decision here, but the one I'm going to make just with where the challenge is and with what is kind of going on, overall in the market right now. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a great evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.